This is what an LC-EV spread looks like. And it does look complicated, but there is a method to the madness, and by the end of this video, you should be able to EV an LC Pokemon on your own. So, just to go into the basics of how Little Cup EVs work, I'll just pick a random Pokemon like Farfetch Galar. I think Farfetch Galar is pretty instructive. And if you know in level 100 tiers, everything moves up by 4, right? Like if you add 4 EVs, you get 1 point. But that doesn't really happen in Little Cup. And the reason is that in Little Cup, instead of 4, the number is 80. And there are some exceptions, and I'll go into that later. But in general, it's 80. So right now, we have 20 EVs right now, and you add 80, you get to 23. You add 80 again, you get to 24. So it's actually 80 EVs and not 4. That's the fundamental difference between level 100 and level 5. But there's one major exception, and that is that the first point that you add will depend on the last digit of the stat. So 2, 5, 8, 2, 5. So if it ends with 2, for example, it takes 20 EVs to go from 21 to 22. But if it ends with 5, it takes 76, right? And then after that, it's every 80. So 156, 236, like that. So this ends with 5, it'll be 76. And then it'll be 156, 236. So that's the main idea. And this applies to any Pokemon. We'll take Abra, for example. Abra, it'll take 76, and then it'll take 80, 80, right? So it depends on the last digit. If it ends with 0, for example, it'll take 36, right? And then after that, 116, 196, like that. So that's the fundamental difference, and it's a relatively easy difference between 4 and 80, right? And one thing you need to know about EVing in Little Cup is something called Eviolite numbers, right? So in general, when you're EVing a Pokemon, right, you want to have an even number in your defense and your special defense stat. And the reason is that Eviolite boosts your defense by 1.5. So, for example, 12 times 1.5 is 18, right? And say you have 13 though. 13 times 1.5 is 19.5, and that rounds down to 19. And say you go to 14. 14, 1.5 becomes 21. So you go 18, 19, and then 21. So you notice that jump, right, from 19 to 21. You're essentially getting more value if you use an even number for your defense and special defense EVs. So whenever you get a Pokemon and you want to EV it, you probably want to see, okay, how much speed do I want? And you can get that from the speed tier forums on Smogon. You could say, okay, I want to be 14 or 15 or 16, whatever it is. And then you should try, and if it's a bulky Pokemon, you should try and maximize the defense and special defense while also keeping an even number. So getting it to maybe 12 and 12, for example, is a good idea. So, and one more thing is that in Little Cup, there's a lot of Pokemon with Regenerator, right? There's Fungus, Marini, Mianfu, so many Pokemon. So with the Regenerator Pokemon, like if you notice, Regenerator is 1/3, okay? So say, for example, you have 22, right? 1/3 of 22 is about 7 point something, and that rounds down to 7. So Regenerator is giving you 7 HP each time. And 23, same thing. But when you go to 24, 1/3 of 24 is 8. So now you're getting an extra point of Regenerator. And that's why if you're using a Regenerator Pokemon, you want to try and make your HP divisible by 3. Because if you make it divisible by 3, you maximize the Regenerator value you get. So those are the three main concepts, that HP moves up by 80 EVs each time, Eviolite numbers, and then the idea of making your HP stat divisible by 3. Those are the main ideas, and that's basically how to EV Little Cup Pokemon. And if you look at Ferroseed, it's something similar. It ends in 4, right? So 4, coincidentally, you only need 4 for the first stat. Then you get to 84. Attack, 36 only. Defense and special defense, if you notice, they've become even numbers, right? And remember, this digit ends in 4, right? So it's only 4 EVs to increase the special attack. And then you look at speed, it just takes 36 to move it up. That's the main idea of how EVs work in Little Cup. And if you want to know more about these types of things, don't forget to subscribe. But yeah, that's basically the end of the video. Thank you.